masterpiece. This year I'll be recognized. I can feel that I'll fall in love for real. This year, January I learned to fly. February, love's gonna find me. March, April, May, I'll get carried away. Oh, this year I'll reach that pinnacle. This year I'll get to the top. They finally realize where she got that energy. This year I'm never gonna stop. January, I learned to fly. February, love's gonna find me. March, April, May, I'll get carried away. This year, it's gonna be incredible. This year, it's gonna be the one. All the planets are lining up for me. This year, I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna have fun. Just watch me now. This year, this year, this year.
Good evening everyone and welcome to session 2 of the first ever online district assembly for Rotary North West of England and Isle of Man. Hopefully most of you were able to join us for session 1 last night, where we heard from Holger Knaack, our RI President for next Rotary year, and excellent presentations from Patrick Tyrrell and Phil Dyer, our foundation and membership team leaders. And a few technical blips that we got through in the end, and hope that everyone seemed to have enjoyed it because we got lots of good feedback. And if you're back again tonight, it can't have been that bad. If anyone joining us for the first time tonight, you're very welcome, and last night's available on catch up on YouTube in the next few days. My name is Eric Russell from Rotary Club of Warrington, and I will be your District Governor-elect for next Rotary year. And my co-host tonight is Kevin Maddox from Rotary Club of Hyde, and he will be your District Governor-elect for next Rotary year. Our incoming District Governor, Peter James Robertson, is unable to host us tonight because he has a few technical hitches, but he is live with us and will be on video later on during the evening. So we'll have to behave ourselves because the boss is watching. Over the next 3 years, we intend to work together as a District Governor team with the Assistant Governors to help you and your clubs to do whatever you need to do. So what better way than to start off as a team sharing, co-hosting tonight's assembly. We have over 200 delegates registered tonight and 147 have signed in so far, so there are a few more people joining us as the time goes on. Got a very busy lineup for you tonight with lots of live presentations and a question and answer session at the end of the evening. We're on a Zoom webinar, not a Zoom meeting tonight, so you won't be able to see your fellow participants, and the chat facility has been turned off. But we do have a Q&A on the bottom of your screen, so please feel free to type in your questions for our presenters as the night goes on. Anytime during the night, just type it in, and we'll actually collect all of those at the end of the night, and Kevin will actually pose those to the panel of all your presenters, and also District Governor Patrick Tyrrell. We'll save the questions that we don't get to, because we had more last night than we had time for, and they'll be passed back to the panellists to answer for you at a later date, either by email or via the district website. District assemblies, we normally look forward to the year ahead. We share ideas and we make plans. It's no different tonight. Despite coronavirus, we've got ideas to develop, plans to make, projects to deliver, money to be raised, communities to support, and lots more Rotary fun and fellowship to have, hopefully. It's just going to have to be done a little bit differently. The Rotary theme for this year is Rotary opens opportunities. Maybe you'll spot an opportunity tonight for you or your club for the year ahead. So enough from me, so let's get on with it now. First presenter tonight will be Tony Beckett, our District Youth Leader. Tony's a past President of Rotary Club of Earlham, is a past Assistant Governor for the District, and led a group study exchange to New York in 2011. He believes passionately in offering opportunities to young people. He's going to share his team's plans for the year ahead with us tonight. Tony, the screen is yours.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Tony Beckett, and I'm District 1285 Youth Projects Team Leader. The essence of that is the fact it's a team. It's not just me. So what opportunities do we have? Next slide, please. Rotary Youth Projects, what is there out there to offer young people? Although I think we're all aware that we do offer young people things, I'm not sure that all of us are actually aware of how many and the variety of things are on offer for young people. We all suffer from that old thing of doing what we've always done. Next slide, please. Let's remember this. It's service above self, our organisation, and I think that we need to stretch ourselves sometimes to try and deliver that service. Let's look at delivering things that we've not delivered before. And in particular, obviously, I'm going to talk about young people. I very much believe that we need to strengthen our district by engaging with the young people within it, because they are not only the future, they're also the future for Rotary. Next slide, please. The technology tournament. Now, a lot of the competitions and the projects within our district, we seek and have the benefit of Rotarians who are experienced in delivering them. So if you were interested in engaging with a technology tournament, I'll briefly explain what it is. It's a competition which invites teams from various schools to meet at a place, and there they will be given a task of creating perhaps a bridge, perhaps a movable object out of a kit of materials that are there, and it is judged at the end of the time to see who has best fulfilled the design criteria that was set. Now, we have two district leads for this that have experienced it in the past, which is Rotarians Mike Collier and Clyde Gardner. So if you were interested in this for something to offer to your young people, you could contact me and I will make sure that you can get in touch with Mike or Clyde, and they would guide you through the process of achieving a technology tournament. Next slide. Young Chef competition is regularly completely filled up. Our district lead for this is Rotarian Roger Shepherd, and Roger has very successfully delivered this competition year upon year. And what we're doing is taking young people who've shown an interest or a flair for becoming a chef and creating it under a competition situation. I've attended the finals of these on a number of occasions, and it is truly amazing the type of meals that young people can create within a short space of time. It's judged at a very high level by chefs from the Marriott Hotel. And the prizes for these competitions, we're not looking at particularly giving people cups and certificates. We're trying to develop young people, so we're giving them the skills, we're letting them develop the skills, and then as a prize, they will become mentored by the chefs from the Marriott Hotel, which I think is worth a lot more than perhaps a dusty pot on the mantelpiece. Next slide. Youth Speaks competition. This is led by Rotarian Warren Hayes from the Frodsham Club. Warren in the past has had to work enormously hard because Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland no longer support our original youth speech competition, but notwithstanding that, we are allowed under the rules of Rotary to do what we wish. So we've carried on with the original format, and Warren and his team have worked very well to have some successful competitions, and it is the most participated in competition for young people in our district. Next slide, please. Rota Kids, Interact and Rotaract. Our district lead with experience for doing this is Rotarian Rosemary Bowman, and there are others within the district. In essence, these are mini or standalone Rotary clubs. They are young people delivering projects that they are interested and motivated to do, and we support them within a framework which accepts the principles of Rotary, and the hope is that in the fullness of time they will become Rotarians themselves. But in the meanwhile, we facilitate them to deliver public service. Next slide. We have the district summer camp 2021. Now, with coronavirus and the state of international traffic at the moment, who knows? It's a challenge. The district lead is our past district governor Rotarian Eric Council. Quite a bit of the summer camp takes place at Petty Pool, which I hope many of you will have heard of. It's an outdoor education centre which has previously been exceptional in facilitating young people from all over the world to come to this district, which is only one of 2 in the country that still do a district summer camp. And I believe that ours has been running now for over 30 years. We're facing a challenge. We'll rise to that challenge and we'll do what we can. Next slide, please. Short and long-term youth exchange. Our district lead is a very busy Rotarian, Adrian Ramsden. How he has the energy to deliver all the different projects he does, I'm staggered by. Short and long-term youth exchange is where we may send a student abroad to study for either a short period or a long period, 12 months, or receive a student. Last year we had a young lady from Japan who came over and visited us. You can imagine in this country with child protection issues, the paperwork to achieve this is quite onerous. However, Adrian has got it under his belt and he has the experience to do it. If your club is aware of a young person who would like to stretch themselves and perhaps do some international education, going for this project, contact me and contact Adrian and we'll be able to guide you through it. You don't have to start from ground zero with these projects. We're here to help you. Next slide. Kids out at Petty Pool. I'll be heading this one up for the future. Kids out is simply, you send a group from your club of young people from either one primary school or a group from 2 primary schools mixed together, perhaps 30 young people. We take them to Petty Pool, well rather you send them to Petty Pool, and they are excited and enthralled by the staff there who will put them on some pretty scary adventures while they're there. I know there was one group from Salford went last year and it tipped down all the time they were there. And we thought, no, this is going to be a disaster. And as those young kids were getting back on the bus, covered in mud and wet through, every single one of them had a fantastic time. They've been climbing, they've been on a zip wire, engaged in archery, they've done all sorts for the day. And let's remember that although this is 2020, some of those young children at those schools, that is the furthest that they had ever been away from home, ever. Next slide, please. The Rotary Young Leaders Awards, RYLA 2021. Again, I try to deliver this in conjunction with the staff at Petty Pool. This scheme runs for 5 days, and within it, it's like a junior management leadership course. What we're looking at here is taking young people who are already demonstrating some glimmers of leadership and the ability to put themselves forward, and we challenge them over this week to start to bond together with people they've not met before, to try and overcome problems, to come to solutions, to build something, to work together, and to realise that to be a good manager, not necessarily you that's got the best idea. You might need to manage a team and find out within that team who has the best idea. And at the end of it, they get a certificate of achievement. And I think it's a great thing for them to be able to enter onto their curriculum vitae. Next slide. So those are some of the District 1285 youth opportunities. We also have youth competitions. Next slide, please. District 1285 youth lead Rotarians that I've just been mentioning: Mike Collier, Clive Gardner, Roger Shepherd, Warren Hayes, Adrian Ramsden, Bill McLaughlin, past District Governor Eric Council. I'm not delivering this on my own. My job title says team leader, and that's what I try to do. I try to use the skills of these people and other Rotarians in order to deliver across the district our youth projects and competitions. They will assist me to assist you. Next slide. In a long line, let's look at them. Technology tournament, young chefs competition, youth speaks competition, young musicians competition, young photographers competition, Rota Kids, Interact, Rotaract, District Summer Camp, Kids Out, Ryla, Rotary Youth Exchange. Starting to mount up to be quite a list of things that we can offer young people. Next slide. We've now got new competitions available. We've got Youth Speaks a Debate, which is the one that is supported by RIBI. We've got the Young Artist competition, Young Writer, and a Young Environmentalist competition. These are all new. They've been brought in after a review that was conducted about 3 years ago by Rotary to make sure that the competitions we have still mean something today. And it's taken into account things like the environment. We're looking at young photographers competition. Everybody now has got a camera on the mobile phone. We've been through them. We've tried to make sure that they're still relevant today. And we're trying to offer a broad palette, different things to interest young people. Next slide. I need help. I can't do this on my own. I need more of you to join my team. I need Rotarians who've got the enthusiasm, the skills, the ability to help to deliver these new competitions and to assist us with our existing ones. If you're interested in youth projects and youth service, please contact me. We've got a debating competition, we've got an artist competition, an environmentalist competition, and a writing competition, which we have not got very much experience of delivering at all. If any of the new competitions are up to you and you'd like to help me to support our clubs, to engage with the young people in our district, please contact me. Next slide. So is your club interested in any of these? Maybe they're not, but are you interested as a Rotarian? If you're interested in it, I'd like to hear from you. If you need any further information, contact me. Those are my details there. They'll be available on the website, so you don't need to scribble them down now. But what I would say is this, that with any Rotary youth projects at all, I'm the only email that you'll need to know. That's the only phone number. If you contact me, I'll put you in touch with members of my team that will be able to assist you. So thank you for listening to that part. Next slide, please. Now then, this is a biggie. This has been what they call a curveball. Let's turn the adversity of this virus into a catalyst for new thinking about how we engage with young people. Can't do the same thing as we've done in the past. The situation out there has changed. I'm thinking that perhaps for too long we've relied on schools. For the future, while schools are reorganising, I think we're going to have to cast our net wider for young people. The schools can't get the young people in at the moment, or they're not sure, or they won't attend, or the parents won't let them go. So where are we going to find these young people to attract to our competitions? We must go where they are when they are not at school. I'm looking at youth clubs, scouts, guides, air, army and sea cadets units. Let's try any club or group and show them what we have to offer.
Thanks, Tony. A great presentation as always. With local projects taking a front seat over the last 3 months, Rotary has shown how we can help our own community as we have, as a nation, come together to support one another. We're now going to look at the bigger picture for the coming year with my very good friend, Rosemary. The stage is all yours, Rosemary.
I apologise all for the slowness of that. Welcome to the 2020 District Assembly. This year, Rotary 2019-20, has been a very strange one, full of promise initially, but severely hit by the awful pandemic of COVID-19 during the first few months of this year. Despite all the trials and tribulations which this has brought, the community and international teams of 1285 have endeavoured to work together and keep in regular communication around our humanities theme, launched at the 2019 District Assembly. Our aims and goals, what we set out to do last year was to build strong local and international communities which would work closely together, and so far as we've been able, this has happened, linking us with the public image team and the foundation team with regard to applications for grants. We also want to encourage multi-club collaborations within clusters and areas to deliver large-scale successful projects and maximise on publicity and public image schemes, such as the wrap-up scheme we ran last year and the very successful PPE that Foxy and her team at Bolton Lever plus Astley have done this year. Many clubs have already got links with partner organisations, and we wish to develop these to maximise on volunteering capacity. New partnerships have been developed with groups such as Loaves and Fishes, Domestic Abuse and Refugees, and local hospices through projects run during 2019-20. During the pandemic. At the start of the lockdown, Rotary community service leads from across the country met together to discuss the actions which clubs were taking or could be taking to provide service to both their members and to the local communities during the months ahead. It became increasingly obvious that much of the information centred around meetings on Zoom or WhatsApp and giving money from club funds and charity accounts or members' meals to local charities. In fact, our district, with the appeal to make things the knitted hearts for bereavement teams, local hospitals, and similar one to provide possession bags from District 1190, appeared to be the only charities or the only obvious practical projects that were on offer. Since then, initiated in our area particularly a COVID-19 interactive map, which you can access on My Rotary. As the coordinator for our area, I'd like to say a huge thank you to all the clubs who have sent me projects for this map. Not all projects have been sent to me, however, and that makes life a bit difficult to populate the map. It also is more difficult, 55 characters to fill in this little box at the top. And so therefore, I've actually sent additional information, plus photographs that the clubs have actually sent to me kindly, to Cheryl, who is the actual humanities chair for Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland. Now, practical projects during the COVID-19 fall into lots of different categories. For example, these pictures show a variety of projects, and I'll tell you which project. Their club always supports young carers, and they take them on a fun day out. But this year, because of the virus, they've been unable to do that. So instead, they devised activity fun bags and delivered them to the actual young people. You've heard about Swati's project for PPE. Well, there's the picture, two pictures that are to do with that. The Bolton, Salford, Tameside, Wigan clubs all joined together and provided some money to actually source equipment masks and visors, which Swati very kindly did. Nearly £8,000 was spent on that, plus, as you can see from the picture at the bottom, tablets which we provided to the hospices in our area. In our areas, and I do know that St Helens have also provided tablets, and maybe other clubs too. As mentioned in Knitted Hearts, this is Stockport Lamplighter, but I do know that there have been quite a few who actually knit the hearts and then deliver them to the local hospitals for the bereavement teams. Unfortunately, there was a film on the television about it, but it was from Blackburn and the hearts there, and there was no mention of Rotary, so I have no way of knowing whether they took part. So, several clubs have actually also dealt with food. Stockport Lamplighter have collected bags of groceries from their members and deliver them to the local food bank. And actually have been helping a group of ladies distribute it to isolated and vulnerable people. Wigan also provided food for the food banks, as have other clubs, and that's been very useful. And finally, quite a number of clubs have actually been involved with providing material for, or financing, or actually physically making scrubs for local hospices and hospitals and care centres where required. Now, a lot of you will remember last year that we actually set up Wrap Up Greater Manchester, but we had 3 clusters going and we collected a whole load of coats, huge numbers of coats, and distributed them to various charities. Now, unfortunately, although this was one of our great successes, this year, because of the virus, we can't actually do it. But what we actually are looking at is how we can organise this for next year, but keep the awareness in the public's eye. And as a result of that, we're likely to be selling Christmas cards devised by, and the money from that will probably be used to buy brand new coats. The difficulty is that coats that have been used, you've got the problems, like all charity shops have, of putting them on one side for storage, or leaving them, even though new coats, if they've been handled quite a few times, leaving them for 72 hours before they can be distributed. So we're hoping that this is going to be going again in 2021. And if you were one of the clubs that were really interested in taking part in it this year, then we do still want you to take part, but we want you to perhaps help us with the cards and be starting to plan for 2021. We also need to seriously think how we can carry some of these projects forward. It's all very well looking at lots of new projects, but we really, at this stage at time, need to be seriously thinking about where we can go from what are going to be affected by the self-isolation and lockdown policies. So these are some of the things that we could be considering. I'm not saying you should, I think you could. Supporting the homeless. On the television last week, they were talking about all the people that are being sent out now or will be sent out from these hotels and hostels where they've been staying while the virus has been very prevalent. And as a result of that, places like Barnabas in Manchester are looking for collecting items, not just food, not just money, but all these other sorts of items. The local carers, I shall be sending some information out that's come from Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland about support and links to carers, the carers organisations, which some clubs are already doing, like Wigan have been with those packs for the children. The food banks, that's all very well saying they're working with the food banks. You know, quite a lot of people are giving money to it, but we need to be seriously considering how else we can support them. People like Morrison's, as it says here, actually will support you and will back you if you go in there and kindly say to them, well, we've got a certain amount of money to spend, can we use that with you? And finally, the domestic abuse refugees. My team have already had a look at what we can do for domestic abuse refugees. It's a very difficult situation, and I do know that one club recently has been providing some money for furniture and actually has sourced where they can get the furniture and materials from for 2 families that have been subject to domestic abuse. If you remember last year, those of you who were involved in it, I actually highlighted buddy bags. Buddy bags are fine. If you want the information from that, I will bring it out of course. But it's one of these projects which has to get a group of you together. And at this time, I don't think that is very safe because we don't know where we're going to be up to. Now, money starts to run low if you're not careful. And this is what a lot of clubs are finding, particularly if they are only small clubs. So we've got to seriously think how we can raise more money in our clubs to subsidise any monies we're giving out and supplement our funding. Now, these are 2 projects on the screen at the minute that have come from Stockport Lamplighter. Some of you will remember, or they usually do, and this year they made it into a film, so it's a virtual open gardens, and it's linked to another website. They're also making cards and selling those, packs of 4 cards, open cards, designed by one of their members, and they're selling them for 4 cards for £5. Bolton Lever have also been selling cards, but they've been selling their cards for quite a long time. One of the most innovative projects I've come across is a lottery ball project that's to do with the bonus balls. If you ever watch the lottery, you will know that at the end of the balls appearing, a bonus ball appears. Well, one club is actually selling numbers, the numbers 1 to 58, and they are aiming to raise money from that. You spend £10 on the actual lottery balls for 10 weeks, and if your ball comes up, you get £30, and you can check yourself on the television, £28 per week. So it's a bit of a different scheme. If you're interested and want to know more, let me know. And finally, one club is seriously considering doing an online auction. So that's another thing. It's going to be to do with artwork and collectibles. People might like to seriously consider doing that. Now, there are other ways in which you can boost your income. Most of you probably already know these, but all these organisations, groups, if you spend money, you can get money back for your Rotary Club. The only thing is you've got to register, but they are certainly worth looking at if you have a number of members who actually do fundraising or buy stuff on their internet purchases and want to do that. Finally, this is a project which we're considering. Yes, some of you complain about the fact of the Rotary symbol being wrong. I'm sorry about that, but I have had slight problems. That was why I was a bit delayed at the beginning, possibly. But This is a project that was initiated or has been thought up by the Rotary Club of St Helens. They have a really good slide with pictures on it of QR codes. Now, for those of you who are not au fait with QR codes, these are codes that you can access by pointing your phone at this funny little squiggly box, and it comes up with the information about certain things. And what we're looking at is we're considering the fact that we could possibly have these posters with local connections on for victim support, for example, local food bank, citizens advice, which people can access. Because if you think about it, it's quite difficult, even if you come home and you think, oh, well, I need to find out where the local food bank is. So you Google it on your computer, or even if you're out and you Google it on your mobile phone, and it comes up with a whole load of places and you have to scroll through them. Well, we want to make this a bit easier. So working with St Helens, who came up with the idea in the first place, and the public image team, we're hoping to be able to promote Rotary, excuse me, promote Rotary and to support local communities in an easy, accessible way. Are we fulfilling our goals? Excuse me. Well, yes, we're endeavouring to do that in the best way we can. But as we've always said, you shouldn't just be giving money, you should be working together to achieve more. And at this time, it's very difficult. But lots of clubs are supporting our communities. And I find it very difficult to say to you, well, I think we should use this charity or that charity or this community project or that community project. You are all local to your area. We are looking at projects that have been successful and are successful, and we hope that some of these will spread to your groups when you want to get involved with doing something different. Wish you luck with it. We hope that you will be able to actually have success with your projects in the next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rosemary. Certainly some good ideas there going forward for the next Rotary year. We now move on to my favourite subject, which is public image. This will this will play an important role in the future if we had to attract new members and volunteers into our clubs. We need to shout about the good work we've achieved, and to help us achieve this goal, I would now like to introduce the public image team leader, Irene Russell. Thank you.
Well, hello everyone, and it's my pleasure to talk about public image. And I too will start sharing my screen. Right, so you might be thinking to yourself, what does public image even mean at a time like this? It's so uncertain. It's more about just logos. You might be thinking, oh, well, she might be going on about the logos, she might be doing this. Well, you know, we're living in uncertain times, that's for sure. Our world has absolutely changed, and probably for quite some time, I think. I mean, who could be, you know, these images, nursing care, COVID style, drawing in customers, back to school like that, these are images that we never thought we would see, waving to our loved ones through glass, preaching to printouts, and this turning into a field hospital, and the empty shelves. It's just quite shocking, really. And the down planes, you know, we're not getting out and about. I mean, there's some good things, praise for medical staff. We've all want to thank everyone. Some great symbols there. So if our world has changed, the way we do Rotary has changed. So what we say about Rotary has to be more on point than ever. So what do? We are meant to enhance the public's image of Rotary and its awareness of service and activities. I mean, it's quite straightforward. Now, if public image is about telling our story, what story is being written right now? Is there a story of an organisation or a club in decline? Are we just playing on Zoom, little Zoom squares, little celebrity squares? Or are we showing vibrancy or ready for action? You know, maybe that's something you can discuss in your club, but really, what are you showing now? Because this is the story. What we're doing now is our story. So, one way of doing this is thinking about telling your Rotary story. So I'm going to suggest to you that you gather your thoughts, organise them, and speak from the heart. When you speak about the heart about projects, you can speak about it in such a way because you've been there, you've seen the start, you've seen the middle, you've seen the end, you've lived it. I know so many Rotarians that have got good stories. And they're not just my story of Rise Against Hunger, a big project like that. There's smaller things, but we've all got these stories and we are not telling them. You know, so I think it's about time that we did try. You know, but people like me and people like you, we're connected all over the place, and more so now. I spend my life on Zoom or GoTo or Microsoft Teams. I'm never off the thing. And we're so connected, night and day, night and day. So what we read has to absolutely stand out. And what this says, getting information from an internet is like getting a drink from a fire hydrant. It's too much sometimes. So what we have to put out has to be very clear, very concise, and absolutely to the point. So why do we say this? Why do we say, you know, let's tell a story? Our brains are hardwired into hearing stories, and strong stories actually inspire us to act. From childhood, we're told stories, and so we're listening to the beginning, the middle, and the end. We don't want to hear the one-dimensional approach. So it isn't just enough, though, to tell a story. It needs to feel true. It needs to be true. It needs to feel true. And it needs to show impact. I could have easily shown a picture of the Rise Against Hunger impact. I could have easily shown any number of photographs there with impact. But this really will change the Rotary image. It does need to be polished, it needs to be professional, and it needs to appeal to an external audience. We're here together and we are all Rotarians and we all tell our story, and most of us know each other's stories. So it needs to have a different appeal, a different feel. It needs to contain characters and maybe show a bit of action. Now, the thing about this is our stories can connect us to strangers. Now look at that headline, Rotarians Save Newborn in Brazil. Wow, there we go, there's a title. And it actually allows us, when we tell those stories, it allows listeners to turn an idea into their own idea. They start to think about, well, what could I do? Could I do that? Could I do something different? But what it's really doing is creating an emotional resonance with us. And it's a connection. So we're telling that story and we're connecting. I mean, the best stories, and this is a brilliant headline. I mean, it's a big project. But world's greatest meal generates 7 million to fight polio. Wow. It's action-led. It shows leadership of Rotary. It's inclusive. It was innovative. It's diverse. God knows it was global. And what an impact. Now, that headline went everywhere. They still have to try and your impact is. So if the story tells you one thing, the written word, and let me just tell you a little thing here. What you say on the written word is different to what you would say on social media, and it's different for Facebook, it's different for Twitter. There are different snappier headings that you might have, and it's shorter evidence there. But look at these pictures. What are you seeing when you see these Rotary pictures? Because for sure, they're all Rotary events. And for me, it's certainly, there's connectivity, there's happiness, there's a lot of fun. There's just such a lot of happiness and good photographs there of Rotarians working, doing projects, getting together. And what an image some of these are conveying. And this itself, this was a gardening project, and it just looked so happy. So, you know, Rotary at its work, Rotary at its best. And this, who could fail not to see the Rotary International flags and gazebos at the Highland Games? You would not miss that. So we're there. It's just about getting that message out. And I love this. This little montage, obviously Rosemary's in there again, you know, she gets everywhere, that Rosemary. But this shows, you know, the Rotary pictures. They're all Rotary activities, 2 meal packs and 1 bag packing for a meal pack event. But we've used, at this point, we've used the Rotary masks. We've floated that across a photograph. Now that's dead easy to do in PowerPoint. We've got a masterclass coming up. Phil will tell you all about that. But these photographs are, now look at the impact of that. Now, even if you couldn't make out the Rotary on the logo on the sweatshirt, you could really see what that was about. It's about Rotary, it's about helping others and people getting action. So you can see in a very simple move about how you can actually change the impact of your photographs. And I had to get it in again. There she is again, front of Princess Anne, you know, she gets everywhere. But what an impact. So suddenly Rotary is being talked about by royalty, if you please. So it wasn't exactly action, but I just felt I had to put it in a nice photo. And if you must have a lineup, what about this one for a lineup? This is a lineup, ready to go in action, and Rotary behind you. That's a real lineup. And this is I put this photograph in just to show you what you could do as another way of doing a lineup, I suppose. I could have put that in, that could have been 3 boards standing there. That would not have had the impact that that photograph has. Now, obviously, we were wanting to promote Rise Against Hunger. We all had a very similar logo on. The photograph was posed. Phil Dyer took that photograph. I'll give him credit for that one. But we've got the Rise Against Hunger. It's a good photograph, and it says something. You're intrigued to find out, oh, what's all that about? What's going on here? So it's just a question of thinking about what you're doing. And what I'm offering up here is, well, I'm not offering it. Peter Crone's going to offer it. He's going to offer a masterclass. Now, he is our official Rotary photographer. Now, we've got lots of photographers in the district, and they are excellent photographers. But he's your man that will get that into the brochures. He will get it. He'll get some of your things publicised. And he is offering a masterclass in using photography to get your message across. Now, this is part of a suite of activities that will be going out in July. This is just one of them. We've got quite a lot of workshops coming up. But I thought, actually, this is one area where I could have got Peter Crone, because he lives in Scotland. He's not going to come down for a 2-hour session, but I can get him online. He is so talented, and he's a bit of fun too. A bit of fun. You'll enjoy that. But I thought I would show you some of the people of action masks. When we do, as again, it's a mask. We call it a mask. You can float it over a photograph. So you can see that's an ordinary photograph there. You might not know it was Rotary, but you could put that over the top of it and you can see it transforms. Now, you quite often see this. Together we end polio. That's just a mask over the top of it. And that Inspire, you quite often see that mask when you're working with children, and you can float that across. And the connections that you have with the youth, you can use that one. Now, this was one I made up myself. This was made up. I'm working at a gin bar, raising money for the beer festival, and we're having lots of fun. There was lots of logos, lots of slogans with that, but that was probably the cleanest one that I could use, really. But you can use that, perhaps not meant to, but actually I think it's a lot of fun doing that. And then we've got Tony here as a little champion, and he's together we champion change, and that's a play on words because he is a champion of change. So that was a bit of fun. And again, for the youth, you could say that you are inspiring. And that's a photograph with young people skateboarding, and we've floated that over the top of it. So these are things that will be in another masterclass that's coming up. It's quite easy to do, and it can really, really lift a photograph. Now, I've put this up here. I wanted to talk around this, what we were doing here. This is something I put together. Now, I wanted to talk about photographs, how you might get something out there. Maybe you've got a project, maybe you've got something that you want to put out to someone. And I'll just talk about this 10-day campaign. Believe you me, this was a 10-day campaign of getting the message out. This wasn't a suck it or see, or let's just shove out something and see what happens. Absolutely not. And I want you to think about any projects that you're doing, any projects that you want to do, and think about it as a little campaign. So I'll talk about this picture. You'll see this colour. This is out of the palette. This is one of the colours that we can use. You can see at the bottom, we've got our Rotary Northwest and England Isle of Man outward facing logo. And I call that outward facing because you sometimes see D1285. Now that's only to be used internally. At the other side, you can see the Rotary Opens Opportunities. Again, that's an internally facing logo. And that's the theme. We have that over all the presentations. That colour strand, that colour palette is everywhere. That pinky, purpley and white everywhere. So suddenly you've got a connection. You've got a connection of the colours. So what we've put out here is, it started off 10 days to do it. We weren't sure whether an assembly was going to go ahead. For those who are or know about Rotary, there's a short window of actually getting it done, and we're almost at the very end of it. So about 3 weeks ago, this floated past me, thought, right, okay, what do we have to do? So it goes out, we used the DMS, the data management system. That went out to all participants. Anyone who has a valid email address will have got that notification, hey, go on Eventbrite and log on to this. Now we've had a good success with that. So every Rotarian that had an active email would have had this email there. We then followed it up with a very, I suppose, a very aggressive social media campaign using this. And I put those three heads together, the three district governors together, because there was another message that I wanted to get across, and that was, we are open for business. We have a top team ready to serve, a top team ready to lead and go forward for the next year and the next 2 and 3 years. But also there's a team of district experts and all their fields ready to support and help. So we just wanted to say, hey guys, we're open for business. And this picture will tell you that. So we're saying the district governor team will lead the assembly. Here's who's going to be speaking. Here's what I want you to do. Here's your date. Get on to Eventbrite. Now you're all used to Eventbrite, and now there's different platforms, but that's a way we can look and see who's all there. But so what I'm really saying to you is these things don't happen by chance. I mean, in addition to that, I've also put out on social media individual like flyers of each of the image chairs or each of the chairs. So that's all gone out. So we're looking at to see who's doing what's going on. So, and to summarize that, if you want to get your message across, you can have a specific and a clear marketing campaign and think about it. It's not just down to the public image team. If you're just doing a thing in your own club, think about what you're doing. Don't just leave it to chance because it won't work out. Use the DMS if appropriate. It does get some bad press, but when you're putting stuff out like that, it's a winner, an absolute winner. We also followed it up with personalised emails. You know, who's not coming? How can we help you get on? And let's not forget those AGs. And I've not forgot, because they're so important for their own clusters to get their message across. You want something to happen. Say it was the PPE project, you want that to go out there, you go through the AG, because they're the ones who are closest to the clubs. We use the telephone, we got it on the website, but I think more clearly, we had a very specific call to arms. You know, we want you to attend assembly. Can't be any clearer than that. And then we told people what to expect. And of course, the appropriate Rotary Club or district logo. Yeah. A social media campaign, but what I'm saying here, it is consistent, absolutely consistent across, using the right branding, the right colouring, because there's right colouring, there's right fonts, and so on. So just as a side issue, and it's not really a side issue, we have objectives. We look at the Rotary Club Central. It's not been mentioned too much, but certainly if all the information that you have about your activity, your volunteer hours, all goes on there. So we also enhance public image awareness, and clearly one brand, one voice, support for clubs at large clear events. We offer workshops and all sorts of stuff. We get involved in all sorts. The next thing to look at really is brand. Now, I'm not going to labour this too much because I think it can be laboured just a bit too much. But I'll make this clear, that what you're looking at is the Rotary Master Brand. This is the mark of excellence. Now, I've just been told I've got lots of time, isn't that nice? This is the mark of excellence, and this is the 2020-21 internal theme. And it says Rotary opens opportunities. Now, this is something that changes every year. The RI president is asked to think about a theme, although I think his team, his marketing team comes up with this. But this year, it's Rotary opens opportunities. Now, if I had still been doing, if we had still had a conference, I had an idea for a photo frames so you can have photographs with these doors, but that's not to be. So let's look at the logos that are available. We've got these, and these logos have been all sent out to the clubs, and they will be sent out again. These are the Northwest England, and it's moving itself. Let me go back. It's taking a wee notion to itself. We can do this for your club. We can give you the people of action. You can see that on the side there, Rotary Warrington. I've just put my own up, and all the colourways are all there. So that's the preferred colourways. The blue and the yellow are the preferred colourways, but it depends on your background. We've used white with the magenta because that goes much better. So these are all available. These will be sent out to you before the end of the month, or to your president, incoming president, and they'll go out to your public image person, and they will all be there. So, excuses, don't want to see it, but it's all there for you. We can certainly help you with that. We can certainly help you with the brand centre and with the masterclass coming up in the brand centre. No excuses. No excuses. So, and here's your man that's offering a masterclass. Phil Dyer is a coordinator, public image coordinator on RPIC, and he's going to do a one on branding. He's also going to do a masterclass on Rotary graphics, and he'll show you a technique. There's various ways you can do this. You can do it over a PowerPoint, or you can use things like Canva. PowerPoint's quite easy. Once you get used to it, you're quite easy. Put a photograph in, float things across. You can use Apple. The Apples have got their own things. You can use that, but Phil will show you a couple of techniques that he can use. He'll not tell you everything because he'll keep some things to himself. Again, this is part of the D1285 public image workshops in July, so look out for that. So last but not least is media. Now, the World Wide Web. I would say one thing about this. I could say lots of things about this, but one thing I will say to you is your website is your first port of call for anyone looking to you. They will look, anyone new, the first thing they'll see is your website. If your website isn't up to scratch, that'll put them off. There's certain things you can do. You can have your website linked with your social media sites, but I would get somebody on it. I would get somebody on your website right away. Have a look at that. Get that sorted first, and then we can start to look at the rest, because without that, you won't get anywhere. What do we use here in our district? We have Facebook, Insta, and we have Twitter. Facebook and Twitter are the ones we use the most. We're just getting into Instagram. Different followers, different things. Now, I'll tell you briefly. Twitter is action-packed. If you're doing a project, it's the here, it's the now. I'm doing this, I've done this, and this, I've packed this bag, I've done this, I've done that, done the next thing, photographs. Facebook is a wee bit more retrospective, and you've got a bit of time to put stuff up. Twitter, you're on it. If we were at a conference and you were reporting on speakers, you would say, oh, I heard a great speaker today, da 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 da, I heard this. Facebook, you've got a bit more time to be reflective. Instagram is all about your photographs and that image that has there and what you can do with that. So that's a very brief synopsis on that. Social media is a great tool. People are, I would say, a wee bit frightened of it, a wee bit afraid of it, but get used to it. Get somebody on your club that can post lots of things. Now, you might be saying to yourself, we're not doing anything. What are we doing? What can we post on social media? Well, okay, I get that some of the projects are not being done, but you could connect with your local charities, the charities that you supported all the way through. I'll tell you a little story about a small charity that we support in Warrington. This is a local sewing club, and we've been supporting them on and off for, I don't know, about 2-3 years maybe. They were looking for some money to increase, improve their premises. We went out, we helped them. They then made us a wigwam so we could auction. We got money for polio. We raised quite a bit of money from that wigwam. They then come back and said, we're doing PPE, we're running up tabars, we are doing scrubs, we're doing face masks, we need some help. We not only gave them money, we also gave them, Eric works for St Rocco's, we also had some new bedding that wasn't going to get used, wasn't going to get sold. We gave it to them to make into scrubs. And that's a great story. We were supporting that, we were helping them through. So it's something that was visual, we could see the scrubs. So we can still talk about the projects, because for sure, when we ever get to the end of this, we will have to be there helping our communities. They will need our help more than ever, absolutely more than ever. And it won't just be around giving them money. They'll want our help. So that's just a little thing, but social media is somewhere where you can attract attention. People these days are looking at it. They've nothing else to do, some of them. Some people who've been furloughed, they're spending a lot of time on social media. I'm not furloughed, I'm working, I don't have that time. I still look at it. Again, I'll do, I wouldn't quite call it a master class, but I will do a class on social media. And some of the things to get you on, some of the things to keep you on, and how to engage with your participants. Because for sure, if you're not careful, you will just engage with your own Rotarians, and that doesn't work. You really want to engage with others. So let me talk about what I want you to take away from this presentation. I will say to you that Rotary is open for business, and you need to project that. You need to tell your Rotary story. Start thinking about what story that you want to tell, and start thinking about where you want to tell that story. You must post positive images. Must. Do not post these images of nothingness. It won't work. I haven't made much of the old logo, but I'm going to say one brand, one voice. Because this really means if we start seeing something, it doesn't look like the brand, people think, maybe that's not Rotary, maybe that's something else. So one brand, one voice. We have an extensive public image toolbox. We've got people in the district that could help you with all sorts of things. As I said earlier, we've got some great photographers. We've got people who can do great graphics. We've got social media experts. There's all sorts of things out there. People who are just dying to help you. And I would suggest that you come to the master classes. There's lots coming up. I might even do one on videos. Now, you might have seen the egg challenge. I do a lot of little videos. So I might do a little class on how to do videos with cues and all the rest of it. So have a think about these. We are here to help you. I can't do everything for you, nor should we, because what we want you to do is learn it for yourself, and then you'll always have those tools. So thanks very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much, Irene. You're right, we all need to get better at telling our Rotary stories. We've got some great stories to tell, but we don't take enough opportunity to shout about it, really. We're doing lots of things locally. We're doing lots of projects at the moment with COVID-19 that Rosemary mentioned, with the things going on all over the world that are coming out of this district. We don't tell people about it. It's a great secret, isn't it? We should all be proud of what we do, take the opportunity to tell us all about it. If we don't talk about the projects, and projects attract people, we're never going to get any more new members. If you talk about what's going on, what you enjoy doing, they say, come and join us. It's a lot more attractive than say, come for a meal, come for a meeting, come and join the project. And the project's all about this. So the story of the project will attract volunteers will then become members, hopefully. So basically, it's a membership thing, it's an image thing, it tells the story of Rotary, so there's a lot to do. The workshops sound really good. There's a lot going on there, a lot of skills to learn. Learn a new skill during lockdown, maybe that should be what we're all trying to do. I was the cameraman and sound man for Irene's egg challenge, so I learned a lot doing that as well, how to do it and how not to do it. I was also chief taster, so there are benefits to these things as well. So I put on a few pounds during lockdown as well. I thank Irene for the social media campaign, because we've got 173 people on screen right now. We've peaked at 175. That's come about because we've been out there on social media with the images, with all of the graphics, and every day when that went out, my emails pinged up more people were actually joining. So basically it does work, it's worked for us. So, you know, we did it up because of that. So thank you. There's a lot of hard work went into that. I know I was there in the background. I wasn't doing it, but I was there. Per our social media, as actually said. So thank you very much for that. Our final presentation tonight is from the Team for International Service, Swati Mukherjee. She's the past President of Rotary Club of Bolton Lever, past Assistant Governor for Rotary. She's passionate about Rotary community service projects, locally, internationally as well. She loves to get involved, helping others. Packing meals for Rising Against Hunger, collecting coats for Wrap Up, the PPE for staff, and recently, if it's going on, you'll find Swati in the middle of it somewhere with a high-vis Rotary vest on. So pass over to Swati now to talk about some opportunities for international service in the coming year.
Thank you, Eric, and good evening, everybody. This is the final session for this evening. The theme for this year, which is the RI theme, is Rotary Opens Opportunities. And Rotary opens opportunities to humanitarian services, both for the home and abroad. And in this session, my international committee team and I have prepared some projects which we think you might be interested, and so that we can, Rotary as people of action, we can give something back to the poor and the poorest societies abroad. Next slide, please. Whatever Rotary may mean to us, to the world it will be known for the results it achieves. This is what Paul Harris said several decades ago. But these words are still true today, and especially relevant under the current pandemic situation. Service is a great motivator. Projects are key, and international projects reach around the globe and promote world understanding and peace. The objectives for this session are to touch upon the challenges facing the world and Rotary today, and where there are challenges, we should think about solutions. to encourage the clubs to work together to deliver better and bigger projects. Highlight the projects that are already happening in our district today and that we are proud of, and draw attention to a few good international ideas, project ideas that will increase Rotary impact and expand our global reach. Next slide, please. We have a lot of challenges today. According to Oxfam, coronavirus could push 500 million people into poverty. The devastating economic fallout of the pandemic is being felt right across the globe. But think of the poor people in the countries who are already struggling to survive. There are almost no safety nets for many of them from falling into further poverty. Just to give some figures from World Bank, according to the World Bank, extreme poverty is defined as living on less than $1.90 per capita per day. Just to give some perspectives, the percentage of population living in extreme poverty in the UK is 0.2%. In Spain, it is 1%. In the USA, it is 1.2%. Whilst in majority of the African countries, 40 to 75% of the people live on less than $1.90 per day. I just want you to bear these statistics in mind when you're planning your service projects. Next slide. Next slide, please. Within Rotary, we have many challenges facing us today as well. Our membership is aging. Overall membership number is shrinking. Not many clubs today can undertake large projects on their own to produce the maximum impact and the best outcomes. In addition, the COVID pandemic lockdown has reduced the fundraising opportunities. Next slide, please. Of course, as I said, that for every challenge, we need to think about solutions. It is important, first of all, to make sure that the projects fit the needs of the community and what the community want. Using the community assessment tool may help you in this process. Collaboration and partnership is the way forward. Clubs working together can achieve better and bigger projects, maximizing Rotary impact. Finding project partners in other countries and developing club twinning can be also considered. Rotary Action Group. These are affiliated groups from around the world who are experts in particular fields. For example, there are action groups for malaria, action groups for literacy, for water and sanitation, and many, many others. We need to think also under the current situation, creative fundraising events. But obviously, we shouldn't be forgetting that Rotary Foundation grants can be big enablers for all our clubs. The fundraising events, some of the ideas have been mentioned by Rosemary previously. Just to add a few new ones, which some clubs are considering, and I know in my club, I've been pushing it hard, having an online race night, online bingo, online cookery program by a local restaurant chef, and possibly adding a theme night around it. So if you have an Italian chef presenting a couple of Italian dishes, why not have an Italian singer? That can be a good evening, and it can be online. So the options are there. We just need to be creative about it. Next slide, please. As Rosemary mentioned before, the theme for the humanitarian services, and that includes the international projects, remain unchanged. That is tackling poverty, homelessness, and building communities. Next slide, please. Now, over the next few slides, I will present a shopping bag for international projects. And it's up to the clubs to decide which one they want to choose. To begin with, I will cover projects that some clubs are already familiar with and are possibly participating. Next, I will highlight some new project ideas. At this point, I want to add that for international projects, the involvement of a club can mainly fall under 3 different categories. First, to raise awareness of the charity or the project through meetings, through events, or even through schools. Second, by raising funds. And international communities always need money. And finally, by providing technical skills and expertise as required. Next slide, please. Many clubs pack Rotary shoeboxes for children and for families in the Central and Eastern Europe. During this lockdown period, this has been very difficult. However, there is no reason why we cannot bag some items for the shoeboxes from our own homes, from our friends and families, which can be used later on when the lockdown is lifted. So we can continue supporting the project whilst we are under lockdown. Meal packing to support Rise Against Hunger is ongoing in our district since 2017. And it has been a very, very successful project with over 50% of the clubs participating in meal packing events. We were supposed to have a meal packing event in Sandbach. Unfortunately, because of the COVID, it's been postponed. So wait for the revised date, which will be announced later on. Next slide, please. Lend with Care is another great project that around 20% of our district clubs are already doing Lend with Care. But I would encourage other clubs to join in as well. This is very simple. It involves making small business loans to entrepreneurs in the developing countries to help them to come out of poverty. And I said, it's just loan. So you'll get the money back and you can reinvest that on another business. This project can be started with very minimum fund. You don't need anything more than 20, 25 pounds if you want to start this project. An excellent project which requires small amount of money. Next slide, please. Rotary help communities during crisis and disasters, and we are very aware of it. Shelter Box, Life Box, Aqua Box are all Rotary supported projects requiring funding. Some of these fundings are not much. Life Box costs just around £220, whereas some of the water filters cost about £3,000. There is no reason why clubs can't group together as within clusters to raise funds for these expensive boxes. So again, it is something which we need to support, especially after COVID-19. The refugee camps can be a ticking time bomb. Next slide, please. Let's not forget our flagship project, which is End Polio Now. End Polio Now is our promise and our commitment to the world. So every club, in small amounts or big amounts, whatever, we need to make sure we support End Polio Now. Next slide, please. In the next section, I'll touch upon some other project ideas, projects that require minimum fund and projects that can be done in collaboration and with partners. Next slide, please. As Rotary people of action, can we help creating a world where no children has to live on the streets? By partnering with Railway Children UK, which is a Northwest-based charity established over 20 years ago, we can help to provide protection and opportunities to children both locally and abroad. We can help children who are abused, who are beaten, who are sold and trafficked. This is a very good project because with this one project, we can meet both the local community need and the international need, because the Railway Children actually helps children in the UK, just round a corner in Piccadilly Station, in London, in Leeds, as well as in Asian countries and East Africa. It's a worthwhile project to consider. They need funds, but funding is not the only way we can help. We can help them by raising awareness of Railway Children, and this can be done by sharing their YouTubes onto our Rotary website, on our Facebooks, and also to get other communities and church and local or corporates to help to support the project. It's a wonderful project for us to sort of embark on. Next slide, please. SureAid UK is another amazing cause. It provides footwear to people and children who are in desperate need, both in the UK and abroad. This is yet another project that meets the need of both the local and international communities. Friends, families, and local public can be made aware now whilst we are in lockdown to save their shoes, so that when the things are better, we can ask them for us to collect and help people who need. Lots of children go to school without proper shoes. And the icing on the cake is that it is a hands-on service project with very minimal funding requirement, as little as 40 to 50 pounds per club. Rotary clubs in Nottingham, in Cambridge, London, etc. are already partnering with Shoe Aid. Video, please. Let us now look briefly into some small projects, mostly in Africa, that clubs can do individually or jointly within clusters. Next slide, please. Muranga project in Kenya was supported by Walkden Rotary before the club closed down last year. This project supports a rescue center for the AIDS orphans and the victims of tribal warfare. Muranga Rescue Center exists on small donations from local people with some little input from the Kenyan government. The rescue center needs funding for the children to grow some vegetables or to buy some livestock, such as goats and hens. They also need some help with buying some kitchen equipment and furniture. None of these donations need to be large amounts. A couple of £100 would go a long way. Next slide, please. This is another project in Kenya, a very small project. The Maasai school in Narok needs support with running a chicken ranch. Think of all the chicken meals which we are not eating now. Can we not save some money from that and help to provide some money to buy some chickens, because just £200 would buy 50 laying hens, food to start them off, for 3 months, plus 12 months vet fees. It's worth thinking about. Next slide, please. Let us now move to Ghana, to a village called Fabia Dugame. Rotary clubs in Manchester jointly delivered a very successful water project in Fabia with the help of a global grant, which is now finished. The next stage for building the community in Fabia is to undertake some small to medium-sized projects in hygiene, education, and income-generating areas. Let us now see a little video about this project. Video, please.
The village, with about 600 houses and a population of approximately 1,500 to 2,000 people, had no drinking water. People were forced to walk half a mile to a dirty pond filled with cow feces. Not only was drinking the water making them ill, but just going into the water gave them illnesses such as guinea worm disease. In consultation with the community, it was decided by the people of Fabia Dugame that they wanted to be connected to the water main from the major town nearby, Sokokoke.
If it had not been you, we would have continued drinking feces. We would have continued drinking water with animals. We would have continued drinking poor water. We want to develop and try to be small Manchester in Ghana. My women want more help from you. We will not only be asking for help, but we will do our little to support whatever small thing you are giving us. We are so grateful. God bless you.
Staying in Ghana, the next project is the Jasna project in Ghana, and it's an ideal project to for a solution to poverty. Jasna village, with a settlement of around 545 people, suffer from poor health due to waterborne diseases and poor sanitation. The Rotary clubs in Wigan cluster are partnering together to drive this project and raising funds through foundation grants. The Wigan cluster is appealing to other clubs in our district to get involved in this project and make it as successful as the previous one. Next slide, please. The final project is a COVID-19 Rotary Global Grant project. It is an innovative project initiated by Rotary District 1175 and these are clubs around in the southwest of England. The project involves training of health workers in the remote area in Kenya using a training app. If the project is successful, it will be rolled out to other countries in Africa and the Commonwealth. This is a partnership project between Rotary and the University College London, and already Rotary clubs in Philippines, Nairobi, Switzerland have signed up for this project. If any of the clubs are interested, please contact me for the project outline. Last slide, please. The district committee members are available to help and support the clubs. And as you can see, we have got a very experienced committee members on the district team. Please contact the team if you need any help. On behalf of the District International Committee, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Swati. An absolutely huge raft of projects there covering all sorts of different areas. I really do like the chicken one. You know I keep chickens, so anything that's got chickens or eggs involved in it is for me. So I want a bit more detail about that one. 200 chickens, so I've only got 11, so we're okay. So that sounds like a good one. But lots of big projects, small projects, and a good link to the fact that it's not always money that people need. We can use what I already spoke about. We can use the power of social media to help our partner charities. So it isn't just put your hand in your pocket or do a bit of fundraising. So even when you're in lockdown, you can use social media to help these other charities to raise money. So it all links well together, doesn't it? A whole lot of things for clubs to do. So hopefully they'll be inspired, see the opportunities that Rotary opens up for them for that. So that will be really good, because fundraising could be tight next year, but other ways to help people is absolutely great. If you can stay with us now, Swati, on the screen, I want to ask our other team leaders to join us back on screen now, because we've got lots of questions from our delegates. I'm going to hand over to Kevin, who's going to be the question master for tonight. I'm going to pose the questions that have come in from our delegates to the team. So we're all going to take a little bit of time to answer the questions. There's still more time to get some more in, so we'll ask any more questions. Get typing on the Q&A, guys. We're bang on time, plenty of time left, so get your questions in and we'll pose those to the team. So over to you, Kevin, as question master.
Thanks, Eric. I was just thinking to myself, I was getting quite comfortable there. It's the first time I've attended a district assembly in my slippers. That's got to be a first. Anyway, thanks to all our presenters tonight. It's certainly generated a lot of questions, and I presume now the panel are assembled and ready for those questions. The first one comes in from Margaret and Henry Blowy, and it's for Tony. Tony, has your team given any consideration to what necessity for social distancing we'll have on your competitions, if it should continue to September and beyond?
Well, we're quite limited in respect of an email that I received just today from RIBI. And what they say is that due to the unpredictability of multi-person gatherings being permitted during and post-COVID-19, the decision has been taken by the Joint Governing Council, that's District Governors 2019-20 and 2020-21, to withdraw national competition finals in the Rotary year 2021 for the Young Musician Competition, Young Chef and the Youth Speaks Debate. Now the reason they've done that is because those competitions actually require face-to-face contact for people getting together. However, not all the competitions are like that. Some of them, which we can highlight, we've got the Young Environmentalist Competition, the Young Photographic Competition, Young Artist Competition, Young Writers Competition, and a Young Filmmaker Competition, all of which can be achieved by using social media, internet, email, and telephone. So we might be struggling, but we're not down and we're not out. Now, some of the other things that will that we recognise that we have as projects such as Ryla, Urban Kids Go Outdoors, all the uses at Petty Pool, International Youth Exchange, summer camps. All of those are on hold at the moment, but I must emphasise that they're on hold. Contacted the district team leaders today with reference to this email that I've received and said that what we must do is keep an eye on what is a constantly changing environment. We've seen over the past few weeks, every day, there's another communication from the government about what we should do, what we can't do, and all the rest of it. So I want to focus on the things that we can do. I want to focus on looking at when other places that young people congregate, apart from schools, open up and contact them. I think it's most important that we don't keep all our eggs in one basket and rely too much on the schools as being the source for the young people to enter our competitions. It's time we spread the net, and this COVID-19 virus is the catalyst for us to do that. Let's start looking at clubs, societies, teams, the Army Cadet Forces, Sea Cadets, Scouts, Guides, wherever young people are trying to gather, there are motivated adults who are interested in helping their development. I think the schools could well be down and out for quite a while, and I think the staff are going to be struggling with just trying to deliver some kind of national curriculum and may not have time for Rotary projects. So we're not going to close shop, we're going to look for somewhere else to try and present what we've got to young people. So yeah, we have thought about the effects that COVID-19 has had on us. And all right, it might be difficult, but it's forcing us to think differently.
Thanks, Tony. Next one for Rosemary, and it's from Ken. Rosemary, we do our own clothes and blanket collection for homeless in Manchester. How do we get involved with Wrap Up Greater Manchester?
Well, the Wrap Up Greater Manchester, which is linked up with Wrap Up Lancashire under the auspices of the Wrap Up London scheme, and is also linked with places like Bristol and Exeter and other parts of the south, has just become on hold for the time being. And we would love clubs to be involved with us. It was very, very successful last year. To answer a second question that I know is coming up, we're not quite sure at this point when Wrap Up will actually take place in 2021. We have a meeting next week online. We've already had one. The idea is to keep Wrap Up in the public awareness that we are interested and want people to know this is something that Rotary is involved with and does very successfully. The difficulty, as you can appreciate, is the fact, and the Manchester Club, whoever it is from Manchester Kent, would have come across this problem, is that items that come in that are used, and Eric will know this better than anybody from his work with St Rocco's, have to be put into a sort of quarantine station for at least 72 hours. So you're hitting a problem before you even start if you're collecting coats and stuff. And also, if you're thinking of shops and places where you would collect, the shops haven't got as much space because they are now having to have one-way systems and so on. Now, the club that want to take part, we will be set as soon as we know what exactly is happening. A message will go out through the Rotary means, through our Rotary channels, and then hopefully Irene will be able to help us with social media in our district, that when we're going to be doing it and how they can get involved. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Rosemary. One for Irene this time, spreading the questions around. Do you have a date for the public image workshop in July?
I haven't got a date yet, but the dates will be issued within the next 10 days. I'm just finalising a few of those external speakers. So those dates will be coming out soon. They'll be publicised through Eventbrite. You'll be booking through Eventbrite.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One for Tony again. What age group are there for Kids Out, please? And that's from Rosemary.
Kids Out is primary school children. But I'd have to say that at the moment, because of the coronavirus restrictions that are upon us, we're going to have to rethink through completely how they transport young people there, because they're going to come from school primarily, and how they actually manage them on site. This could probably result in a change in pricing.
Yeah.
So everything's up in the air at the moment.
Yeah. Is it worth pointing out as well, we've got a new contact at Pettypool?
Well, we have, because Lee's moved on to pastures new.
Yeah.
Like I said before, don't complicate it. If you want to know anything like that, contact me.
Okay. Okay. Let's have a look and try and spread them around a bit. The next question, what is your opinion of investing funds into geo-demo targeted Facebook campaigns? And this one's for Irene. To recruit volunteers for our causes, do you have experience of this, generating volunteers stroke new Rotarians?
Wow, wowzer. Well, you can do the targeted posts geographically. So say I was wanting to do, just say I was doing something in Warrington and I wanted to get everyone there. I could use the postcodes, all the postcodes in Warrington, to attract people there. So it's quite easily done. It would need to be a project that would appeal. If I can think of a couple of projects, maybe the PPE project might appeal. Certainly the Rise Against Hunger project appealed. So there's lots of things that can be done there. It just depends on the project, to be honest, as to whether you want to spend that money. Now, it's good to, it's money well spent if it's the right project and it's the right target audience. So what you've got there, we can certainly look at.
Are the grants still available for advertising?
It's not. I've got money in the public image budget. It's not a grant. It's I've got money to work with throughout the year. So
okay.
If I've got money left, I could spend it on it. If it was appropriate, I would do so.
Not wishing to leave you out, Swati. What is the community assessment tool? And that comes in from, I think it's pronounced Manjod. Manoj. Sorry if I've not pronounced that correctly.
A community assessment tool, you can look into the tray when there is on the Rotary website. It actually assesses the community needs. Is there a need in the community? Because we just don't want to do a project just for the sake of doing a project or give money for the sake of giving money. There should be a community need, and community need will need to want that, whatever we are offering them. The tool actually helps to assess, is there a community need? What are the risks for doing that? What are the requirements? It goes through all the strengths, the weaknesses of the project, and it's almost like preparing a project plan, but not in great detail. The tool is already there in the learning and development area of Rotary. And if anybody wants that tool, I can send it out.
If I can come in there as well, if you're going to a global grant, you have to go through that process to prove that it's a project that the local community want. And that's on the Rotary website as well.
Thanks, Patrick. Somebody I know quite well, Les Clancy from Newton Willows Club. And this one's for Rosemary. Is the wrap-up campaign to run during the spring or the autumn in 2021?
Well, we're hoping that it's going to start planning if it doesn't actually run in the spring. But there's quite a distinct possibility it may well take off in autumn 2021, not in spring 2021, because it's all very much, as I said right from the word go, to do with COVID-19 and the lockdown. Now, I know they're releasing the lockdown, but we've still got all sorts of problems with collecting second-hand items. that if if we are able to sell the cards, which we're hoping to do, that was suggested by somebody in 1190. The idea will be that any monies we raise from them, which will also heighten awareness that we are still in existence and we're still following these projects, any money that's raised by this competition that we're going to do for young people will be put into getting new coats, which can be delivered from manufacturers and taken directly to the charities we're supporting. So I can't honestly give you a date, Les. I can't honestly give you a date at this particular time. But as soon as I know, and possibly I'll know next week, then I will let the information will come out.
Thank you. Moving next door to the St Helens Club, and a question from Colin Ince. The Foundation and international rallies are important events within the district. If COVID-19 prevents these taking place, are there plans to hold these online?
Did I say something this one then? Because I think it's last night and tonight is a bit of a test for us as a district. So we're seeing how big we can get with an online event. So we got to 175 people at one point tonight. So that puts us an appetite there for doing these sort of events online. The technology works, so we can do it. So I think from our point of view, I'm up for helping to organise it if other guys want to do something. So this is a bit of a proving ground. So I think we've done quite well to get this so far. So over to Swati and Patrick, really, what do you want to do?
For the foundation, it's on the agenda for the committee meeting or the team meeting on Thursday, Colin, so we can discuss it further then. So it is in mind. We doubt we'll be doing anything major in Foundation Month, which is November, as we did last year, but there's no reason why we can't do something like we've done tonight.
Just to add, we were going to organize an international rally, which was supposed to be on the 18th of March, which was postponed. It's not cancelled, it is postponed. So we are thinking of, if things go to plan or if things improve, one of the possibility is to bring it back next year in the international month, which is February, if that is possible. Having said that, we don't know what the situation is going to be. 120 people had already registered and paid for the international rally event, which we were going to have in March. And all that money which people have paid, £15 per person, is actually sitting in the district account. So that nobody's asking for the money back. So we want to do something. Whether we can do it face to face is a different question. But as Eric said, that with this, what we are having 175 people, probably there is opportunity for having one next year if we don't have face to face or in one of the halls which we had decided. I just want to add one thing at this point. Interestingly, I got a message this afternoon. As probably many of you know, I have facilitated and set up the Health Awareness Day in Bolton about 10 years ago, and it has been running very efficiently for the last 10 years. Unfortunately, this year was supposed to be the 10th year, and there was supposed to be a big celebration, which had to be cancelled. So this afternoon, I got a message to say, would we do it online? This is having health awareness stalls online. So if that is possible, online for health awareness, I don't see any reason why we can't have international rally online.
Thank you, Swati. Another question here from Chris Watson, who came on last night as well. Again, it's for Swati. Our club have been running a Lend with Care fund for a number of years now. And one of our members is doing a 500k bike ride in Africa next year to raise funds. It's a super project and doesn't cost us a lot of money. And over the years we've been participating, we have yet to have a default. I recommend this to any club that does not as yet participate?
Yes,
Just an idea.
it is absolutely correct. And Clive, who was going to do the bike ride, in fact, he was going to have a stall at the International Rally. And he came as a presenter at Bolton Foundation Evening last year in September. And as I said in my presentation, only 20% of our clubs in our district actually are taking part in the Lend with Care project. And there is a big opportunity for many of the other clubs, because actually you don't need a lot of money. You can start with very small amount of money and build it up over years.
We have time for one last question, Kevin, if you can squeeze one in.
And it's a fairly good question as well. I've left it till the end.
Good.
It's from Kevin Thompson, and it says, can all district meetings be held on Zoom in future so that they are accessible and inclusive as possible for everyone, regardless of personal or work commitments? Congratulations for setting up this district assembly.
We got there, didn't we? We did it, so that was it. So, and thanks, Kevin, for being the question master and my co-host for this evening. I want to thank all of our team leaders over both nights. I think we've done a great job. For a bunch of amateurs at the first attempt, I'm very pleased with what we did, so it's very good. Obviously, the technical guys behind the scenes, Phil and James, thank you very much. It's been great to have you pushing the buttons and twiddling all the knobs for us. It's been great. We've been recording tonight's assembly. We recorded last night's assembly, and Phil will edit the footage down for YouTube, and we'll post it on YouTube in the next few days. We'll send out the link by DMS to everyone in the district, whether they attended or not. So if they didn't come, they can watch it. If you came and enjoyed it, you can watch it again. You can take bits of it and show it at your club Zoom meetings if you want, if you have nothing else to do. Show it to your friends, whatever you want to do with it, it'll be out there. So we're at the end of our first ever digital assembly. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have. Thank you all for joining us. I hope we at least one opportunity for you or your club over the 2 evenings. I'm now going to hand over on video to Peter James Robertson to say a few closing words. So hit the button, Phil, and good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Night, Eric.
Well, fellow Rotarians, we've had a wonderful 2 evenings, and thank you everybody for these superb presentations. You've worked so hard, and it's absolutely brilliant. You've got me just there. James and Phil for their technical support, making this assembly possible. Thanks to the team leaders for their presentations. And thanks to everybody who's logged in for giving up 2 evenings of their time to join us at our first digital assembly. I'd also like to thank the incoming DGE, Eric Russell, who's already shown what a great district governor he will be with his enthusiasm for helping with all he can. Eric, thank you so much. This year is not like any year Rotary has known since it started in 1905. I think even Paul Harris himself was scratching his head. But with our ability to adapt with this wonderful organisation, we will get through these exceptional circumstances together. I have a wonderful team behind me, and I would like to thank each and every one of them. After lockdown, I'm looking forward to hopefully attending and helping at some of the wonderful projects the clubs do. When safe, we meet with you all in person. We're definitely making history in these times. A special thank you to District Governor Patrick Terrell, who's done an amazing job. Patrick, thank you so much. Gary Parker and the Secretary, Phil Jones of the Horridge Rotary Club, for sticking with me. Finally, I want to wish all incoming officers and presidents all the success in the year ahead. Remember, Rotary opens opportunities.